Welcome to the Finally Feeling podcast. I'm Kathy Baldwin, the founder of Finally Business Systems and the author of You Are Not the System. This is where founder-led business owners talk honestly about the point when effort stopped working, what they could no longer ignore, and what changed next. This is a production of the Finally Podcast Systems, recorded through Soulcast Studios. Today I'm speaking with Tanny Diep, founder of Sway Brows Studio and Academy. Tanny's story is a powerful example of how experience that once looked disconnected can become the foundation of a highly differentiated business. We talk about her path from fashion and corporate sales into permanent makeup, how she turned technical expertise into education and coaching, and why every new offer requires a system if it's going to create freedom instead of more work.
Absolutely, Kathy. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very happy to be here. My name is Tanny Diep, and I am the founder of Sway Brows Permanent Makeup Studio and Academy here in Cerritos, California, which is just borderline Orange County and Los Angeles. And we have been in business for over 8 years. Our business started out as service-based with microblading, doing permanent makeup for the eyebrows, cosmetic tattooing, and over the years has evolved into education with a full-on academy for the technical skills. And then now we also even have a business marketing coaching program to help beauty entrepreneurs beyond the permanent makeup space to build their businesses and to build a scalable brand that they can feel really, like you said, finally, I'm doing what I'm doing and I love what I'm doing and I'm serving people and I'm not burnt out and stressed and I'm making money and I'm happy.
Oh, yes. I love that. Could you tell all of us, how did you evolve into this business? Because I'm assuming you didn't just wake up one day and have this incredible business model all just pour out of you.
My journey has been pretty incredible and very winding, to say the least. Almost an uphill battle every sense of the way, but I feel like the culmination of the experiences somehow led me here. And never in a million years, if somebody said to me I was going to be tattooing faces for a living, that I would be like, yeah, but it's crazy how I got here. I am originally from San Diego and grew up I'm from an immigrant family, so my parents came here from Vietnam, and I lived in San Diego since I was 2 years old, and grew up, was a very good student in school. And my parents, I watched my mom, who was actually a nail technician, work in the nail industry, in the beauty industry for almost 30 years. Little did she know, she had a major influence on me, but she never wanted me to follow that path. She didn't want me to go into the beauty industry because to her, doing nails, she felt like it was a grind. She was limited in her language, and this is why she wanted to do this. But she said it wasn't easy and it was very hard. So she wanted me to get an education and be better, or in their eyes, like do something different. So I actually worked very hard, studied very hard, was very social butterfly in school. I actually got a full scholarship to San Diego State Business School in San Diego for 5 years, and did everything that I was supposed to do as an eldest daughter of an immigrant family, right? Like, don't mess this up. Like, we came here to be like, okay, I got it. Like, and so I did. But when I got to college, I think I was very young, of course, 18 years old, my first year in college, and I got caught up in the social scene. I joined a sorority, I had a boyfriend, like all the things, and I just wasn't focused. But also, I was doing everything that they wanted me to do. I went to business school, because I thought, I'm good at sales and marketing, all of my work, and I've worked in retail, and I'm good. I'm a natural communicator. But my first year in business school, I could not stay awake in the classes, like statistics and like all the business classes. I wasn't thinking long term. I was just thinking very short term in the moment, and I was bored. And 2 semesters later, I actually got kicked out for academic probation. So a business school dropout, right? And at the time, I was feeling really lost. And my parents they said to me, they're like, look, you don't have to do anything, but anything you do, just do your best. Like if you're going to go get a job, just find something you like, do your best. If you want to go back to school, find something that you really want to study, right? So they just said, just, figure it out, take some time. So I worked some odd jobs for like a year trying to figure it out. I did a lot of sales jobs because I think I was naturally good at that. I was even selling door to door like coupon books at one point, some MLM thing. Like, I was always trying that next solution. I was like, I want to make a lot of money for the least amount of work. So eventually, I decided to dig deep within and see what I really wanted to do, what my passion was. And I was very passionate about beauty, makeup, fashion, clothing. At the time, Project Runway was really huge, and like FITM was all the rage, the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising. And so I decided that I wanted to go to fashion school to become a fashion designer. So my parents were like, okay, you're really into that, like you can do that, so go for it. So I decided to study at the Fashion Institute, and I went to the San Diego campus, and I also moved to the Orange County campus. And I went to all three campuses. I'm finishing. I'm hearing a lot of feedback. Is it?
Yeah, there is a little bit of feedback.
Is it the mic? Without it? Let's see. Is that better?
Try it on your collar.
Okay. Sorry about that.
But I also have my window open because the weather's beautiful here and someone is mowing.
Oh, okay. I think that's okay. Okay, so I finished fashion school. I got the degree in fashion design, and then I started working in the industry. But at the time, when I was going to college, I was working. I'm getting feedback here, so I think I'm good.
I'm going to close my window in case that's affecting you.
Okay. Okay, is that better? I think that's better.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, good. Okay, so I was still working a retail job. I was actually working for AT&T while I was going through school. I was doing retail sales, selling cell phones and mobile solutions. And then I moved to their corporate office, where it was a corporate. So I was coaching different retail associates on how to sell AT&T products. And I was doing this all throughout college because it paid really well. And I only had to work on the weekends, like Friday to Sunday. So when I finished school and I got my degree in fashion design, I was like, okay, this is it. I'm moving to Los Angeles. I'm going to go find a job in fashion. Meanwhile, I was still holding on. Once I found a job, it was for a design room intern making $9 an hour when I was making like $30 an hour with AT&T. And I was just like, okay, this is the cost of, following your dream and following your purpose. So I'm going to do this, but I still have to survive. So I ended up picking up like a weekend bartending job and then serving sushi and then going to the fashion job in the daytime. So I had 3 jobs when I first moved to Los Angeles. I was living in my friend's living room because I didn't have any place to stay. And so yeah, she said, my living room is empty. I just moved to Long Beach as well. You can come stay with me until you get on your feet. And so I was working those 3 jobs. But then the fashion career ended up being pretty amazing. Like it was really fun. I learned a lot. I had to wear a lot of different hats. It was a very small company, and I worked there for almost, I think about 5. Overall, it was 9 years with this company. But after being there for about 5 years, I started to feel burnt out. And I started to feel like, because I'm capable and I'm smart and, I can do a lot of different things, or I'm just like the type of person that just likes to get things done. You give me a task, and even if I don't know what I'm doing, I will figure it out, and I will never be like, I don't know, right? So,
yep.
So I became, I was a designer intern. Started taking me to trade shows with her. So I was helping her sell, and then I was helping her develop product based on the sales. So because it was just very small company, the two owners and like maybe two people in the warehouse, I started doing everything with the owner because I was like her assistant. Right. So I learned so much from her because she was just this amazing designer, very cool lady. And like I learned about merchandising, sales, fashion design. I was shooting the lookbooks. I was styling the photo shoots, and I was doing everything, building their website. Like if you name it, I had a hand in it. But over time, it became very overwhelming because I wasn't just doing the designing anymore. Now it's like sales and marketing and every single part of the process, which in the moment felt overwhelming. But now looking back on that, I feel like, okay, I gained a lot of knowledge and experience on how to see the full product cycle of like a t-shirt, like, how many hands it goes through and what it takes to produce it from an image, a drawing, all the way to production, mass volume. So I learned a lot working with the clothing company, but then I was overwhelmed and I decided this was a very random side quest. Like 5 years in, I was so anxious at work. And because of the pressure, deadlines, and everything, that I felt like I needed to do something to calm myself down, which I wanted to take yoga classes. And me, never taking a yoga class before, one of my good friends who I danced with, I was a dancer, very limber, flexible. So I thought, okay, yoga is like physical exercise. And he said, hey, my teacher where I go. It's a really cool studio in Long Beach, very spiritual. Like she's doing a yoga teacher training. Do you want to join me? And I'm like, I trusted him and I trusted he knew what would be best for both of us. And I said, you know what, sure, I'm down. I want to learn how to do yoga so I can, find some peace and help ground myself. And I've never taken a yoga class, but I'm a fast learner. I can try, I can do this. So signed up for a 4-month training that was just happening on the weekends for like every other weekend it was 200 hours. But it was not like your core power yoga, commercialized American yoga. This was very traditional hatha yoga. The teacher had dreadlocks down to her butt and she was very like spirit. She studied in an ashram. We learned all the parts of the yogi lifestyle, as well as had meditation hours, chanting hours. So I sat with myself for 4 months, all of my thoughts, all of my trauma, all of the things, sitting in these uncomfortable. That's what yoga teaches you really it's the union of the mind, body, and soul, and how to sit in your discomfort and face it and face your fears and your anger, your insecurities, your doubts, all of those things. So little did I know at the time, I thought, okay, I'm going to learn how to do yoga. Maybe I'll teach some classes. Maybe I'll make some extra money. I taught like 2 classes, and then all these old people were asking me about their their arthritis and their injuries, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how to help you with this. I just want to guide you through. I was overwhelmed. That training changed my life because I became vegetarian. I stopped eating meat. I'm vegan now, but it gave me so much patience, and it allowed me to face a lot of shadows in myself and demons that I was working through as I was, you don't realize, like I was feeling very depressed at the time, and I wasn't happy with my job, and I didn't feel like I was making enough money. I felt like I was undervalued. And I think that yoga teacher training taught me to take control of my life. And I cannot be a victim of my circumstances and of my upbringing and my environment. And if I want something for myself, I need to go and do the work and be disciplined and like work at it, right? So that was a catalyst into my self-help journey. So after that yoga training, I didn't become a teacher, but I kept the practice going for myself. I started listening to self-help books, reading a lot of different things, listening to podcasts, like just trying to do something to better myself and improve myself. I started a whole gratitude practice I was lacking that in my life. I always felt like I was negative and projecting a lot of negative things, but I realized my parents were really negative. So everything was always like, somebody else's fault. Like everything was to blame. And I didn't realize that I was exactly like them until I did this yoga teacher training. Like, oh my God, like all of my issues light. It was a very eye-opening 4 months, but I finished the course. I did my thing. I kept up with my practices. And I want to say, I actually left that company, the clothing company, to go work for a handbag company, because the clothing company was great, but it was a little chaotic, and just the culture there was, intense. So I was like, I want peace. I want something peaceful. I want to work for a company that is a little less chaotic. So I went to a handbag company. The handbag company was so peaceful, I started to miss the chaos. Again, I'm learning things about myself, and I'm like, maybe I like the chaos. It wasn't the chaos that I didn't like. Maybe it was just like, I don't know. And so I worked for this other company for a whole year, the handbag company. But I realized I liked the people that I was meeting at the clothing company more. And I liked the work that I was doing there more, even though it was a lot and overwhelming. Something about it made me feel purposeful, like I felt a little bit more aligned with that. So I ended up talking to my boss, and we connected, and I said, I really miss working with you. And she said, I really miss you too. And she said, you should come back. And so she offered me more money to come back, and a better role, and what I really want to do there. I came back for another 4 years. But by the last year, the cycle of things that were driving me away from it started happening again, where I started feeling the burnout again. And I started feeling like, misaligned with the company and their direction. So I decided that I wanted to do something completely different. And I'm like, I want to leave the fashion industry. I don't want to work in sales. I don't want to work for a company or corporate. I just want to do something very creative where I can make good money and feel happy with what I'm doing. So someone told me about microblading and said, hey, you should check this out. You might be really good at this. Like, you're a good artist and you're good with your makeup. So maybe check it out. I went to the rabbit hole for about 2 months, just researching, trying to imagine myself like, can I do this? Am I going to be able to tattoo people's faces every day? Like, is this something people do every day? Is it something they just do on the weekends? A lot of questions. And so I decided, after 2 months of research, I signed up for the course. The course was a 6-month course, but I gave myself maybe a 3 to 4 month game plan. I want to finish this course in 4 months. And after I was still working my full-time job, and I didn't tell anybody about this. I was just doing it quietly because I'm like, I don't want to talk about it and not make anything of it and then feel like, so I just want to wait till I finish. I can say I'm certified and then start seeing clients or models or friends and family or whoever wants to come and see me. So 4 months, I finished the course. I was working in the back room of the salon with my sister-in-law, who was an esthetician. She had some space that I could use only in the afternoons on like Saturday, Sundays. So I started to see some clients and was still holding on to my full-time job. And eventually, after about 3 months, I started feeling the momentum with the brows. I was thinking about brows all day long. I was just sketching eyebrows at work. I wasn't even thinking about clothing anymore. I was working 7 days a week, so I was falling asleep at my day job and in meetings. And I started to feel again like it was too much. And then there was a day where my boss and I were just having a conversation, and she had gotten upset with me about not answering some email over the weekend, and I think it just triggered something in me that I was like, like, it's the weekend and you saw the email. Why didn't you answer it? Why are you mad at me? And then went back and forth. And then she said, you know what? This is because I was a sales and marketing manager with that company. She said, you had this. If you're not this is not a banker's hour job. If you're not up for this, then you let me know. And I was like, maybe I'm not up for this. And then I told her I've been working I've been doing, and she was shocked. She was like, oh my God, really? So after that, I really decided to go full force into I wanted to make the microblading my career, and I wanted it to be more than just a side hustle. But at the time, I still wasn't sure that microblading was for me, because when I was working on the clients, like the first few clients that I worked on, like I wanted to quit. It was such a difficult, challenging experience tattooing somebody's face, because I was like, what if I mess up? What if they don't like it? And I remember it wasn't until my 10th client 10th or 11th client that someone had no brow hair at all. They had a condition called trichotillomania where they naturally pulled out all their eyebrows and so was bald. And that was the first time I worked on a client that had absolutely no hair at all. And after I finished her brows, I've been practicing the whole week. I was really nervous. When I showed her the mirror, she looked at it and she said, "Oh my God, you're telling me I can wake up with these eyebrows now?" She was like, "Tanny, you have no idea. You just changed my life." And she said, "Can I hug you?" And she hugged me and she started crying. And then I started crying, and we're both standing there crying over a pair of eyebrows tattooed. And that night I went home and she reiterated this really long text message to me. And she said, "Tanny, thank you so much." She said, "You have no idea what you've done for my confidence. You really changed my life. You're an angel. I pray for you. I hope you have the most successful career and help as many people as you have helped me. Like, thank you so much." And I started crying again. And I just felt the impact of like, directly, helping someone feel so good about themselves through this art of permanent makeup. And that was the pivotal moment in my career where I felt like this is it. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be the best artist I can be to help as many people as I can. And I'm just going to go for it. And luckily, I decided to leave my full-time job to pursue this. I still wasn't sure if I wanted to be my own boss. I was still scared. I was calling around to other studios to see if they needed an artist. Nobody called me back. So eventually I just rented my own little solo salon suite, like 100 square foot, like suite in one of the beauty suites. And I just started my business from there. And about a year, 6 months after that, I was invited to teach with an academy that my mentor, the academy I studied with, my teacher branched off and opened her own academy. So I went off and became one of the trainers with her academy and started teaching with her curriculum for microblading. And, little by little, I ended up moving from my solo salon to one of my studios now, one of the academy that I have now. And we just built a really major business with it. I started teaching classes every month. We had sold out classes for like 3 or 4 years until the pandemic hit. And even after the pandemic, we were still very busy. And then about 4 years in, we built the marketing coaching program because I saw that there was a big gap in the industry between like technical skills and then business skills. So now we teach beauty entrepreneurs how to like build their businesses using the same strategies that I used in my business, which were the same strategies that I learned from how to run the fashion business. And my years of sales and marketing, working for different companies. And so it's been a journey, and I've been relentless in my pursuit of trying to find that level of freedom for myself where I can feel that finally, like, there were many moments along the way where I felt that moment of relief in the beginning when microblading started taking off. My first month in my solo salon studio, I made $10,000. And my only goal I had for my 30s was just to make 6 figures. Like, just make six. I want to make 6 figures so bad. And I never got there in my previous careers. And my first month in my solo salon studio, I made $10,000 with like 25 new clients, and I thought to myself, is this a fluke? Like, is this for real? Like, is this going to be consistent every month? And I stayed consistent with my practices. I stayed consistent showing up on social media. I had a strategy and a formula that I was following for my business, my content. And I literally built out a whole system to help support what I was doing in the moment through my website, my funnel online. And so I was generating a great amount of leads every month and booking new clients. And I was very new at the time, but my work, I felt, in comparison to the artists around me, was pretty good. So I offered a very nice discount for my new studio, and we were fully booked again for the second month in a row, another $10,000. And I thought, wow, this is insane. Like, I'm really doing really well here. And so again, I just kept working at it. But it was the system that I implemented. Like, I had a content plan. I had, sales scripts where when clients reach out, like, how do I book them? I had a booking, online booking system, like the system that I set up for myself to help alleviate, answering the same questions over and over, and how to process like leads and inquiries, and then also delivering a stellar client experience so that they can turn into more leads and referrals that way. So finding that success with the artistry, and then implementing that same system into the education. So there's a whole process for how we generate leads, and like a sales process that we take them through, as far as how we register them for the courses. And then from then, it's like we expanded our services. So from microblading, I expanded into machine work, like powder shading and different styles of brows, and then lip blush, and then eyeliner over the years. And every time we implemented or expanded our services or added a new program, like there was a system that we had to follow to implement, so that it can do a lot of the heavy lifting for us. And I had those moments of like, relief every time when you start something new and you rebuild the system, and then the system starts working. And then that's when you feel like, okay, like it's built, it's ready, and I'm here and ready to produce and ready to deliver. So here I am now. Fast forward.
Tanny, what I absolutely love about your story is one of the things that I find when I do my audit and diagnostics with founder-led businesses is so many times they come with a huge wealth of information that to them feels disconnected and disjointed. I did this here, I did that there, I gained this skill here, I gained that there, and they don't understand how they can build a totally unique business out of that unique information. And so what I love about your story is you've created a business out of beauty that incorporated your business education. It incorporated your sales and marketing. It incorporated lead generation from all those different places. What would you say was the greatest thing that allowed you to figure out that you had the components to build your own business?
I think when I got blading, I knew that with all of the experience that I had in the fashion industry and the experience that I had with the corporate sales, and then I think the peace that I felt from the yoga training, because it made me such a patient person, and it helped me build my discipline a lot. Discipline that I didn't have, a combination of working in the fashion industry and a combination of showing up for myself with the yoga practice. Microblading or doing this treatment in general, it takes 3 to 4 hours, like in the beginning when you're working per one client, takes you 3 to 4 hours to do a procedure like this. I don't think I could have had one, I didn't have the patience. I wouldn't have had the patience without that yoga training. Two, I wouldn't have had the business knowledge from working in the fashion industry. So I think those two things together made me feel confident that I'm like, I know how to sell, I know how to market, I know how to take photos, I know what looks good, I know what colors, branding, merchandising, I know all about that. And I knew that if I could package something that was really beautiful and welcoming and top tier, that I can stand out from the crowd. And I did a lot of research into the beauty industry and like who's doing this and how they're doing it and how can I be different. So I came up with my own method as to how I was going to stand out and what was missing from the other artists that are already existing.
I love that, because one of the things that I talk about in my book, You're Not the System, is that we bring with us all of our traumas, all of our issues from our personality, from our ancestry. We bring it into our business, and if we're not really careful, we can systematize the things that are not necessarily the greatest aspects for our business. So you just talked about how something totally unrelated gave you one of the keys to being a successful business owner, because we don't live in isolation.
Right. Yeah. And even though people say they want to escape their 9 to 5s, and yes, one part of it was an escape route for me because I wanted to do something different. But another part of it is I owe so much of my knowledge and experience to the 10 years that I spent with that company, and maybe the 5-6 years I spent with the corporate companies before. And, again, like that time in the yoga train, like everything, all of it. I wouldn't be who I was today if I didn't drop out of business school and I didn't end up moving here and I wouldn't have met my husband, all the things. So it's like every mistake, every failure is going to lead you either one step closer to your alignment, or it can, take you on another side quest and you have to go and figure something else out. But I think every decision or even mistake that I've made has led me here, and I don't regret any of it.
Absolutely. It's how we phrase and define those experiences.
Right.
If we label them as mistakes instead of the data that we're accumulating in order to bring something in. Let me ask you, I believe that we need to take our founder-led experience and intelligence and extract it from the founder and put it into a business so that there are no founder dependencies and allow the business to become its own entity. How have you brought that into your business?
I think how I'm able to, at this point, I think there's been different phases and there's been different seasons of my business. So the first season was where I was 100% the artist, the operator, the sales and marketing person, the everything, the accountant. And I had to be, because it was just me and I was providing a service. And then when I started teaching, that allowed me to have intellectual property, teaching other people how to do something. And, the income that I was generating from there allowed me to take less clients and step away from that operator mode a little bit, because I was doing more teaching virtually and in person. And then once I started doing the business coaching, again, part of it is hands-on, but part of it is we built this whole program that they can tap into online. And also, I have my weekly calls with my partner where the members can Zoom in. But a lot of the business that I've built is, again, like, I love taking clients, I love tattooing, and I love doing that work still. But 8 years of doing it full time, like, you can imagine my neck, my back, my shoulders, like everything is always very tense. And I keep saying, like, I do want to remove, maybe not remove, but like shift the balance between what I'm doing. So the things that I'm building now are to help give me freedom so that I don't have to take, 20 clients a month. I would like to still see maybe 10 clients a month, and I would like a part of it to be spent teaching, and I would like a part of it to be spent coaching. So I'm trying to find that balance, because I'm getting older. My son is also getting older, and I want to spend more time with him and my family as well. So the more, the level of mastery that you reach in the different phases of what you do will then allow you to build educational systems around what you do, so that you can continue to share your legacy while generating income, while feeling a little bit more freedom and less of the physical strain. Right?
Yes. That was a perfect example of how to take your intelligence and systematize it.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you build your system for clients? Because I believe that what you're doing is teaching other beauty run businesses how to replicate what you created in success. Am I correct?
Absolutely. Yes. So when I built my business, I knew that I needed not just a social media, or not just a website, or not just Google listing, but everything all together. Because when you are attracting leads, or even if someone finds you from a referral, they automatically go and look you up. They're going to Google you and all the things that come up about you. So I knew that I needed to build a professional online presence to build the trust faster. Because what we're trying to do is to get people to book our services and build that trust immediately, where they can give us a credit card and not feel like kind of sketchy about it, right? So a lot of businesses, beauty entrepreneurs, they go into it, they learn a trade, they learn the skill, and the teacher tells them, okay, go now, start a social media, post some before and afters, and then you'll start getting clients. But the social media, Instagram alone has changed so much in the last 8 years when I, started using it a long time ago. Like the algorithms have changed, the patterns have changed, like who gets to see your content, it's all different now. So if you're just relying on organic reach and you're just posting a before and afters, in comparison to all the content that's out there today, like everyone's fighting for your attention on social media. So what we actually help them do is not just tell them, okay, go post every day on social media with no direction. We help them build out their online presence. So their website, their Instagram, their Google listing. We help them create a marketing funnel that helps navigate a potential lead through that process and gets them closer to a buying decision with them, or at least booking a free virtual consultation to have a conversation. And then we coach them on how to create the content with a very visual, nice visual presentation, a variety of content that is not only going to showcase your work, but sell your services. Like, be intentional about the hooks, be intentional about the storytelling and your transformations and how you're connecting with your audience. So showing up like that consistently with your professional online presence built out. And then we have a part of the system where we do ad management for them. So I have like a list of proven posts and content that I've made that has generated hundreds, thousands of leads that I have running. Some of the ads I've had running are still running for like over a year. They're just there in the background running, generating leads for me, and they're evergreen, and I don't have to worry about it. And so I don't have to stress about posting every day and what am I going to post. And a lot of beauty professionals do, but we give them all of these formulas, help them build the system, and then stay consistent and show them how to manage the ads so that they don't have to hire an ad manager or waste money on ads that aren't going to work. So a lot of companies will have them, marketing agencies will come in, run ads for you, but they don't audit any of that online presence. So they're running ads, burning money because the presence, the presentation's not working. So if someone sees an ad and goes to your page and there's gaps in your funnel, all the different layers, then you're going to lose that lead and you're going to waste that money. So
I love how you've given all of these success formulas and then help someone else build their business. But I bet that the circular motion that you've had to build this business wasn't a straight line. Can you share one of the moments that felt like a failure in the moment, but turned into one of the most important gems of gold that you have taken from that experience?
um, I've had a lot of moments in the beginning where I didn't do so well on the client and I felt like a failure with the actual service itself. And I think, again, they say, the faster you fail or the more mistakes you make, the faster you learn, right? Because if you don't make those mistakes, you won't make the mental note to not do it again. Or, your ego gets inflated and you start thinking like, I'm on top of the world and I'll never make a mistake. And when you fall from that, it's a much steeper drop. But I think through the mistakes that I've made on clients, there's been mistakes that I've made in business, like partnering with the wrong people or investing into the wrong decisions. Or I think I know I have ADD, and my toxic trait is like, I'm going to start building a whole new thing once one thing is going. But I think one thing that has been a major lesson for me that I can think of as of recently is I invested into a partnership that didn't end up working out. And I think my problem is sometimes I want to do so many things and I keep adding on. But one thing I have to remember is that if you add on anything, whether it's a service, whether it's a new product, it requires another system. It requires execution, marketing, sales, effort, time, thinking, planning. It requires all of that. And because I already have like 4 or 5 businesses going on, I think to myself, oh, I can just add another thing. And then I've realized that, again, that's taking time away from other businesses, taking time away from my family. It's taking time away. So I think my biggest lesson is just keep nurturing and mastering everything that you do and you love and that brings you joy and generates income, and keep doing it better and better versus trying to diversify and do so many different things, even if it's within the same.
Yes, yes. I believe that we are in a magical time where corporate methodologies and technologies are available for the founder-led, the entrepreneur. And so I believe that we need to divide what belongs in the human realm and what belongs in a systemized. How do you help founder-led businesses in a beauty industry understand what they should concentrate on and what they should systematize?
I think a great exercise to practice, especially in your own business, is just to know every single duty that needs to be done, every single responsibility. And are you the only person that can do this, or is there someone else that can do this for you? Like, are you able to delegate it, right? So highest priority tasks needs to be the founder needs to be doing the highest priority tasks, the highest income generating tasks, the things that they can do for themselves. And then if there's anything that they can have assistance with, like answering emails or, answering leads, but for me, I still like to answer all of my leads because I like to make that connection with the person that might be signing up for a program or the one that's going to be coming to me for a tattoo. So I don't outsource that. I personally, handle that. But some artists, like if they need assistance with marketing, or if they need an assistant like capturing content for them, or if they capture the content and they have someone else process it for them, they have to find their weaknesses and their strengths. Every entrepreneur is going to have different weaknesses and different strengths. And for me, my strength was marketing. Sales and marketing is my strength, and I am also the artist. So those things I tend to hold on to. Anything that I can have an assistant doing. So now I have an assistant, a marketing assistant that helps me create content in the same formulas that I've given that are proven. So she knows what I like now, and I just capture the content, put it in a folder, and she's able to create the videos with the structure that I give her. So these are things that can be delegated. There are things that can be delegated, and there's things that you absolutely have to do. And I think you have to understand that in your own business.
Yes, yes. That is exactly the methodology that I believe in as well, is that you must map out the process and figure out, is there another way? Is there a better way? Because so many times founder-led businesses just evolve. I always say that most founder-led businesses are led by incredibly capable, strong, powerful people who are so used to troubleshooting and resolving problems that the one major thing that they have is being able to step back and really look at all the things that they take for granted.
Yes, absolutely. I think but running a business in itself is I've been seeing the phrase a lot lately where they say, you thought you were building a business, but the business builds you. All the challenges, like you said, the road to success is never linear. It's always winding. There might be some side quests. There might be some failures. There might be like, okay, that didn't work. Scratch that whole thing. I need to start over. But you have to be okay with that. And I think the happiness that I've found as an entrepreneur wasn't just in the destination, but it was rising to the challenges that I was presented with and being able to overcome them and being able to sustain the business because there's challenges every day. You're going to have challenges in every way, every day, but it's how you approach them. And do you approach them with a lens of like, okay, what am I learning from this? What am I taking away from this? Or like, oh, why is this happening to me? That victim mentality again, how do I overcome this? How do I streamline this? Like, what do I need to do to solve this problem? Right.
Yeah.
So
yes. One of the things that I think is critically important that you sort of touched on is that things are speeding up so incredibly fast, and that we're in so many different changes that are happening, that we don't need to do it alone. That when we can bring in the expertise of someone who has gone before us to help us get to that next level faster, then we can pass that on to the next person. And that's what you are doing so beautifully. Could you please tell everyone in the audience, if they're in a beauty industry and they're struggling and thinking that they have to figure everything out by themselves and make those mistakes by themselves, but you can speed up their process, reduce years, frustration, cost, everything by bringing someone in like you. How can you help them?
Yes. I think because we've done all of the trial and error, and I've reinvested into coaches for myself, because you know your capacity and you know what you know and you don't know what you don't know, right? But when you are building a business, like I said, there's going to be phase one where you're building out everything and you might not have all the answers. And when we've already done it, made the mistakes, done the trial and error, I spent the first 3 years on Instagram alone posting something every single day, studying my analytics, seeing what works, what doesn't. And then I got to a formula of a rotation that really tracks. And that took me years of studying and research and development. So now what we're offering to our, Beauty Pro clients is like, we have this proven system that is already implemented in my business that is still generating like, multiple 6 figures, 7 figures a year. We're implementing it into your business for you. There's part of it that we do with you. There's part of it that you're going to have to do, but we empower you to learn the system so that you can further delegate it beyond yourself. But once you understand how it works, you're really going to get a sense of that automation in the business that doesn't require you every single second of every single day, and to generate income consistently where you have predictable results. A lot of beauty professionals are struggling with that. I made $1,000 this month. I made $5,000 next month. I don't know how to do that 5,000. Now I'm back to 2,000. So they don't have a consistent method of how they're operating their business. And that's what we help them do, is we help them build their confidence. We help them look like $1,000,000 online. And then it's up to them to deliver that amazing service to their clients, and then lather, rinse, repeat. And we show them how to capture it and then create content around it that's going to attract more clients to them.
Well, if that does not make 100% perfect sense, because you can either do things the easy way or you can do it the hard way. And the hard way is going to cost and add frustration. And unfortunately, it leads to a huge statistic on founder led businesses closing within 2 years. And so I absolutely love that you are taking your experience, your knowledge, your intelligence that you have built and honed over the years, and you've created a system that allows you to pass it on to the next person. Tanny, I want to thank you so much for being here and showing us what is possible to create that finally feeling by understanding where your experience, your expertise leads or lives, and creating a true system out of it. You exemplify what the finally feeling is in everything that we build into supporting founder-led businesses. Thank you so very much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed sharing this story. And I think, I am always so buried into the business that, I don't spend enough time talking about it, but just talking about it makes me realize like, wow, like we've really done something really amazing. So thank you for allowing me, giving me the space to share.
Oh, my pleasure. This is exactly what this podcast is about, is to help support founder-led businesses, especially in today's day and age where corporate world is changing. Jobs are becoming fewer, and people are having to take their own experience and knowledge and create something independent out of that. And so you've done that so beautifully. And I encourage anyone who's listening who has a beauty led business to contact you and see how you can help them systematize so that they can have a thriving, happy, successful business. Thank you, Tanny.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kathy. You can find me on Instagram at swaybrows, swaybrows.com, and see everything that we do there.
If your business has grown from years of experience that still live mainly inside your head, visit finallybusinesssystem.com. Finally helps founders extract that intelligence, turn it into business architecture, and build systems that can deliver it consistently without requiring the founder to carry every step. You've been listening to the Finally Feeling podcast, produced through Finally Podcast Systems in partnership with Soulcast Studio. Visit finallybusinesssystem.com for the episode notes, resources, and next steps. I'm Kathy Baldwin. Until next time, remember, you are not the system.